Hello everybody, it is I, the Black Dragon Emperor, back again. And this is the second time I have done this, because I had to make 2 takes. One, because my brain was not working right for some weird reason. But, anywho, this time there's nothing really to add, since I think I've got everything nailed down so far. And that's pretty much all I had to say in this intro. Someone's probably gonna dislike the video, mainly because I ramble. But hey, we will see. If you guys hear me breathing, my mic is hypersensitive. I am sorry, I have realized that in my recent videos you could hear me breathing in my mic. That's because I use a gaming mic. I do not have a pop filter. I do not have an actual setup. And if you guys also like, in one of my videos I will display why. But anyway, well, I do not legitimately have one. Anyway, I will get us straight into this, because from my memory, we already did the entrance exam, which was really cool. Anyway, so, Izuku, when he entered UA, he cloaked halfway through the hallway. And the reason for this is because he was putting on a hoodie and some jeans. The reason for this is because he didn't want to see anyone. Well, he didn't want anyone to see the suit, because then they'd bother him about it. They'd ask if it was his quirk over and over again, and he doesn't want to remember all the stuff he went through up in space. It bothered him quite a lot, and considering that during the entrance exam, he was having a few visions. And these visions were weird, because he could swear that in some of them he could hear like an order, or like a wake-up call. It's like someone was ordering a group of people to wake up and follow their orders. And Izuku was bothered by that most through it. So he's stuck in thought about that at the moment. And so when he gets to him using his scanner with his suit, managed to find where 1A was rather quickly. And when he walked in, he managed to sneak past everyone without anyone seeing his sort of like cloak pass by them, which was good for him. And he sat down at the very back, since one of the chairs was already pulled out, for some strange reason. Probably because someone was using that chair just for just to talk, considering that there was a group of people doing so. And he looked at them, scanning them and getting information. Seeing Mina Tokiyami, I'm pretty sure that's his name, guy with the bird quirk on it, the shadow quirk. I'm honestly sorry, my head is not working and I do not remember all 22, 23 of 1A. I'm really sorry about that. And he also saw Suyu in the group, and that was it for that. But then he looked and immediately recognized the one that had his feet up on the table, Katsuki Bakugo, the kid who he really did not enjoy talking to. He was the biggest prick he knew. But the other one he didn't know, like the others in the classroom, besides Bakugo. Tenya Ida, the younger brother of Ingenium and son of the Ida family, or Ida family. He was sure he heard of the family somewhere, but other than Ingenium, he never really heard of the family, since he was mostly stuck up in his research, mostly finding out about certain things that happened, or that were happening in science and scientific discoveries, and those were his main concern at that time. So he didn't really bother about anything like politics or hero families or something along those lines. So he just sat back for a while, and when Aizawa came in, Izuku saw something pop up near the bottom of his visor. Low energy. And on the bottom right, he saw that his energy meter was at about 3 bars. And so what he did was he barely managed to hide his entire body behind the desk he was in and uncloak, having his energy recharge very shortly after, and he cloaked again, with the sound of it, the AI in his suit saying, "Cloak engaged." And when Aizawa went to go mark everyone off, he asked, "Izuku Midoriya?" "Izuku Midoriya." Then because in this he was using a phone to mark the roll, as Aizawa had forgotten the paper. The paper or the sheet needing to mark everyone's names off. So he did it on his phone. And he saw that it was ticked off. Like someone had hacked it or something. And on the screen it said, I'm here, but you can't see me. I'm like Hagakure, except I don't want to show myself just yet." And Aizawa was just like, "So we have a shy kid, along with the kid with the life quirk, with the animal quirk. Isn't that lovely?" He said, "Alright, get your sports uniforms on." And they all left. As Aizawa had said on the way that this was a test, and that the person who got the lowest score would immediately be terminated from UA, or expelled. I don't sound like a Terminator, I just did it because why not? And while Izuku was in there, he managed to find a good place to hide. Though, to his despair, someone had opened the door to the changing room. And as he was changing, his suit ran out of energy, since he was stuck in thought. And his cloak deactivated. And the person to see that happen was, of course, the one and only, one of the best boys of the class, Kirishima. And he's like, "Yo!" He's like, "Who are you?" And Izuku was a bit of a loss for a second, and looked down at his energy. And if you hear that squeezing, don't mind me, I'm just fixing my stand. Yeah. So, and Izuku stared him down. And as his energy reached maximum again, he quickly cloaked. And said to Kirishima, "Don't tell anyone you saw me. I was only meant to show myself later on. The suit, it's complicated." Kirishima's like, "Yo, no problem." And Izuku thanked him, heading out with the others. And when Aizawa called him out, he said, "I know you're here. It's no use hiding yourself anymore. There's really no use at all." And Izuku deactivated his cloak, moving up. And everyone saw this about 6'2" man, well, boy, or guy, they don't know, or chick, they really don't know, walk up to Aizawa, getting a ball. And he said, "Is that your quirk? You could only go invisible?" I said, "Oh, not at all." And he gripped the ball tightly, and getting ready in the area, and getting into a baseball pose. Because when Izuku was young, when he didn't become mainly involved in his science and discovery, he watched his father play baseball quite a lot with some of his work friends. So he still remembered some moves. And Izuku reared his arm back, putting his foot up. Then, as he threw it, blue energy pulsed through there's a moth. Well, either his life was short-lived, or he somehow managed to escape somewhere or flew into a wall. I'm not entirely sure, but we'll see later on. Probably when I go to sleep up shortly after an hour or 3 after this video, which it is now about 10 or possibly 10:30, going to 11 p.m. But anyway, and as Izuku went through the ball went, well, a bit further than Bakugo's, about 1 to 2 meters more than Bakugo's. And Bakugo was a bit pissy at that, and Izuku took Bakugo's place. And this time Izuku got about 3rd place instead of second. And Momo had asked Izuku what his quirk was made of, or what his quirk was. And Izuku just told her, I don't want to talk about that. How I got this is, well, it's depressing. And Momo apologized, bowing in front of him. He said, no, don't bow. It's no use bowing. Then Izuku quickly held his head, seeing another vision of something. And he winced in pain. And Momo asked if he was alright. He said, yeah, just visions. My quirk does these things sometimes. I don't know why, but it really hurts. Anyway, thank you for your concern. It really means a lot to me. Momo smiled and said, anytime. Though with that, Izuku didn't smile, as he didn't have what he thought anymore. Since he knew the Seth were much bigger than what he had seen, that the Seth were something far, far more. Because when he was passing out, he saw the Alpha Sith, some giant mechanical worm appearing in space, and it interacted with him a little bit, and that interaction is, well, it messed with his head a lot. So Izuku's in quite a bad situation mentally, but he's pulling through. And after that, when they went back to class, they were showed their combat teacher, which was All Might. And Izuku looked at All Might, since everyone has seen him now. There was no use hiding himself. And All Might looked at Izuku back and said, "Oh, so you made it into UA?" He said, "Oh, yes." It's like, "How's your wound?" He said, "It's fine. Thank you for worrying. Anyway, it's time for another mini test, everyone. Get on your hero suits, because we're going to do a heroes versus villains. I'll put you into teams when we get to the test area." And everyone was quite pumped, considering that they could now show off their abilities and possibly make All Might really impressed. And they really wanted to do that, as that could possibly give them good luck in the future. Oh, did they not know? Not in the slightest. If you can hear paper, no, this is not a script. It's just something else. Right here. And when they got there, everyone looked at Izuku, thinking about what he might do or what he might be capable of, seeing that he's been able to cloak and he has a really, really far enhanced strength, but they've seen nothing beyond that. They don't really know what he can do. So they kind of question it a little bit, bring up theories of what he can and can't do, or what his limits of his abilities are. Which sort of gave them some possible insight to him. But nothing too severe. As Izuku was signed up with Uraraka. Uraraka, the girl he met when he came into UA. And he was quite happy to see her again, and he greeted her cheerfully, saying how wonderful it was to see her again. And Uraraka blushed, smiling back. He said, "Thanks, Izuku." He said, "No worries." He's like, "Just call me Deku. After all," you gave me that pretty cool name." And he said, "Even though it won't last long." But he was still very happy. And at the very least, he didn't care about what might happen. He was happy for once. He was happy for once in a very, very long time. As for a while, he's mainly been bothered by everything that happened to him. So there wasn't much for him to really smile or be glad about. But with Uraraka being there, he was able to smile, at the very least. But that was going to fade very, very quickly. Izuku knew that. Nothing lasts forever, after all. And as Izuku went with Uraraka into their zone, since they were first up in this, everyone watched in anticipation, wondering what would happen. And Izuku looked around, and then used the thermal vision he found out he had. Nanovision enabled, said the suit. The suit was quite amazing, considering that it had thermal vision, a scanner, it even had a cloak. But he hadn't really used the other ability, armor, to its maximum capacity. So he'll see how much he can do with this. And once Izuku was walking through the hallway, he stopped the Uraraka, as the threat meter right next to his radar went yellow, and his radar began showing something, or someone, a red blip. And he said to her, "Stay back, be quiet. If we can guess right, I think we should know who it is." And he's like, "Katsuki?" And Izuku replied with yes. Now, Izuku then grabbed the Uraraka and went into the darkness with her, as Bakugo blasted back. "Deku! Where are you, you piece of shit?" he yelled. He certainly wasn't very happy. Not in the slightest. And Izuku cloaked. Cloak engaged. And he went behind Katsuki, wrapping his arms around his neck. And since no one could really see him, All Might used the thermal vision on the camera. But yet again, he couldn't see anything. Nothing at all. It was like Izuku didn't exist, but he knew he did, and he knew he was there. Bakugo then passed out from lack of air, and Izuku apologized to him. "Sorry, Kachan, I didn't want to hurt you." And he then disabled his cloak, looking up and seeing a triangle. And he looked at it for a while with the center of his view, as a little circle went around the very bottom tip of the upside down triangle. Then information popped up on Ida. He's like, "Ida, he's still at the bomb." And he knew that since there was a blue hexagon that was right where Ida was, the mission marker, what they were after. And it was on the left side of his, the very top left side of his vision as well. And it said "Heroes versus Villains Exam. Disarm the exam bomb." And Izuku went up with Uraraka, carefully looking around each corner and making sure there was no bombs or traps or anything of the like around them. And Uraraka was sort of amazed, as Izuku was like a machine. He was like a battle machine or something from a sci-fi film. Nothing got past him, because Ida had set up some traps with Bakugo. As the closer they got, the more severe they got. But since some of them were electric, Izuku could hack into them and disable them. Izuku also found that some of them were physical, like an arrow of some sort, just to scare them a little bit. And if it did get stuck into them, it wouldn't really hurt, as it was blunt. So even if it tried, it couldn't go into them unless it was shot at extreme force, which it wasn't, as it was just shot by very little explosion, only used for a very small areas, like the hallway they were in. And Izuku just used his armor to get rid of it. Nothing he needed to worry about after all. And it just bounced right off of him. No problem at all. "Maximum armor," was what he heard as soon as it came flying at him. and nothing really happened. His energy didn't even go down in the very slightest because of how light it was. And Izuku activated his armor and kept going, looking around more. They were getting closer. Oh, so closer. They were about 80 meters from their objective now. And by the time they got close, at about 15 meters, they were hiding behind a pillar. And Izuku cloaked. Cloak engaged. And he said to Uraraka, "Be careful. I'll go up and take care of him. I'll cause a distraction and you get onto the bomb." And he said, "Yeah." She nodded, waiting for Izuku's cue, which she knew would possibly be him fighting Ida. And that was exactly what happened, as Izuku ran at Ida, disabling his cloak. And Ida, in shock, swung his leg. Izuku put his arm up to block it, like he saw in films, activating his armor. Maximum armor. This caused Ida's leg to vibrate a bit, and he swung it back and swung his other leg around for a double kick. An axe. Then Izuku blocked that, and so Ida went up for an axe kick, going up right above him and slamming his leg down. Izuku put up his hands, not needing armor, because he could easily counter that, which he did. And this surprised Ida, as Izuku just simply pushed it off and pushed him aside, backing up away from him a little bit in a slight crouch as Ida and him walked in sort of like a standstill. Then Izuku said, "It's over." And right as he said it's over, Ida turned around and saw Uraraka jump. And right as Ida tried to go to get Uraraka, Izuku grabbed Ida's arm. "Sorry, but I can't let you go." Ida used his engines to the maximum of their capability, but not using his maximized engines, as he thought he could hurt Izuku. That's the best joke I've heard made in a while. Well, not really, but this caused no issue for Izuku, as he just dragged him back, as very little energy went through his arm. And Uraraka just latched onto and hugged the bomb. "Yay, got it!" she said. And about a sort of victory horn went off, sounding that the match was over, and that to their surprise, easily Uraraka and Izuku had won, with little effort needed at all. Since Bakugo barely did anything against him, well, literally nothing against him, and Ida was no match for his armor, even though he took his energy down a little bit, about two bars. But that was really it, and his energy was pretty much filled at max in about less than a second. And he said, your kicks are really powerful, but along with my quirk," he says it in a way that sort of makes you to question, but hey, after all, Izuku's probably keeping it a secret for a reason. You can't really hurt me, since it's impossible to move something that's, in a way, an immovable fortress. And Ida nodded. "Yeah, you're really powerful. My kicks did literally nothing to you. No matter how hard I kicked, I didn't want to use my burst. But I'm starting to think I should have." And Izuku agreed, nodding. "Yep, you really should have." And All Might was impressed by Izuku's movements. He was moving like a master. Well, I don't know how to say it. My head, my brain, everything is mashed potato. A master martial artist, and this made All Might smile a little bit. And when he went to go meet All Might again, All Might complimented him on on his martial arts. He said, "Well done, Izuku. I see you're talented in martial arts." He said, "Yeah, I studied a little bit. I studied a little bit of martial arts along when I was studying science, back when this mess didn't happen." And all my said, "Well, it seems like it was a good idea that you did. After all, I doubt you'd take either down that quickly if you didn't." And Izuku agreed, saying, "I could just use my armor if I didn't catch him. I could just distract him for a little bit, and when he moved, simply grab his arm like I did there and stop him." And I said, "Indeed, you're a walking powerhouse. Ha ha! But you'll never catch up to me." And Izuku chuckled. "Of course not, All Might. I'll never catch up to you. You're amazing, no matter what." And All Might smiled more than he usually does. "Thank you, Izuku. Really. Even though I've heard that so many times, it just feels better when it comes from you. I don't know why." And Izuku raised his shoulders. "I have no clue either. No matter how hard I rock my head about it, I'll probably never know." And All Might let out his hearty laugh yet again. "Ah!" And he smacked Izuku's back softly. He's like, "That's good. Sometimes things are hard when you try to think about something, but don't think too hard. After all, you might give yourself a headache." And Izuku said, "Not with this suit, I won't." And he said, I see. After all, that suit does do some pretty amazing things. I wouldn't be surprised if it even kept simple injuries from happening to you." And Izuku reluctantly said, "Yeah, little injuries." And he thought back and felt his arm and shoulder where it was fractured and a little bit broken and strained when he was on that ship, but quickly shook his head. Well, it was a good day, All Might. I hope to see you later." And All Might nodded again. "Indeed. See you tomorrow, Yakuzuku. Next we'll have quite the trip. Next we'll have quite the fight. It's students versus teachers next, after all." And Izuku sighed. Well, that's gonna be fun." And All Might let out another hearty laugh. Keep happy, Izuku. I will see you tomorrow. After all, you can't always stay here. You can't always stay in one place for too long without a break." And Izuku sighed again. "Yeah, I know that better than anyone." And I said, "Yes, you do, young Midoriya. Yes, you do. Even if you don't seem like it." Izuku said, "Yep. Well, see you tomorrow, All Might." "See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow, my boy." And Izuku left school, waving away to everyone that was leaving. Well, mainly the ones that were in his class. No one else, that is. And when Izuku got home, he went straight to bed, telling his mother that he was awfully tired for some reason. He wasn't usually tired, but here he is now. So he went to bed, and while he was trying to fall asleep, closed his eyes, he saw many other visions as they flashed in his view, which caused Izuku to wake up suddenly, breathing quite quickly. I am really sorry about my grammar. I honestly really am sorry. It's just when I speak for too long or too fast, or I try to pull out an idea too quickly, my head seems to stop a little bit. Knowing you guys, you might have a bit of a chuckle with it, won't you? Anyway, it's, and it was enough. And after Zuki woke up, hyperventilating, he looked around the room, and he was rather shocked at what he just saw. He saw a massive mothership or of some sort, just a large ship with what seemed like a cannon or some railgun at the bottom of it, and he was just terrified. So he got up and went into the kitchen with his ma, and his mother asked if he was alright, and he said, "Ma, I'm just a nightmare. Don't worry about it." And she said, "That quickly? Are you alright, Izuku?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm fine. It's just with what happened up there. It messes with me a lot. It hurts. So I'm alright. Just need a little bit of. I think I'll just need a little bit of time to get used to them." And his mother sighed. "Alright, Izuku, but if you ever want to talk about them, I'm just here." And he said, "Thanks, Ma. Really, I appreciate it." And since it was late and all, and Izuku couldn't really eat at all, he went to lay down on his bed in his room, and he lost track of time. And ever since he did, it seemed to just fly or happen in an instant. Because when he laid down and lost track, it was already about 6 in the morning. So Izuku got up, and when he went into the kitchen, since his mother usually wakes up at 7, he went and read a note and went off to school to prepare for the next day, which involved a very, very tough fight to come, as he had to face All Might, and he didn't know who with, but you'll see. And so when Izuku arrived at school, everyone greeted him and asked how his night was, how well he slept, since Izuku seems like a very distracted person. And Izuku said, "I didn't sleep." And they looked at him and said, "Huh? Aren't you tired?" He said, "No, not really. I was for a little bit, but after I lay down, I think I lost track of time, and now I'm perfectly fine." And they looked at him and had a little bit of a sigh to themselves, as they were a little bit shocked at the matter of the fact that Izuku didn't sleep like a machine, which rose their suspicion higher, since, the Prophet is considered hardware, which is increasingly sad. But hey, we'll see. And Izuku said, "Well, we have something called Students versus Teachers today, so I think we should get ready for what's to come. And also, I think we might be starting early, because, All Might and all, and having an early start to the morning is really healthy for you. Well, I really possibly won't, Anyway, that doesn't apply to me." And everyone looked at Izuku, being like, "Dude, what is your quirk?" And he said, "That I can't say yet." And they all got a little suspicious at the fact that Izuku isn't telling them what his quirk is. He doesn't get any sleep, and on top of that, he isn't tired, nor is he worn out, nor does he seem to really care about what happened the day before. Like, he didn't really care asking anyone questions. He was just going on with his day. Like, that was him. That was literally him. He had no worries at all. And so, at the time of 8, which Izuku had 2 hours for, but since he got to UA at about 7, since he sort of took a slow route to get there, as he wanted time to think before he got the noise of everyone. So he had about an hour to chill. And when they went to get ready for the hero exam, like the Students versus Teachers, not the hero exam, my head, I'm awfully tired. I don't know why. Well, wait, I'm always tired. Yeah. So with that, Zuko waited for everyone else, and as it all came up, it all still ended very awfully and suddenly. Since he was assigned with Bakugo, the one person he despised the very most, and the person he most probably wants to kill. The most. Out of everyone. But hey, he won't, since, that's not what heroes do. And he didn't want to disrupt the hero code. Which would have been a very, very, very bad idea. But hey, we'll do the villains versus the students versus teachers in the next video. And I'm sorry if this is short, but I'm still thinking of what to do for the 500 subscribers special. Except for right now, a very, very big thank you. Thank you all so much for supporting me, and just what it means to continue with this stuff. You guys are bloody amazing, and I'll give you a damn hug, even though I don't hug really anyone since it's awkward for me. But I honestly want to hug you all 514 of you, or like over 3,200 of you who have watched my videos. But thank you all so much. You all mean a lot to me in a way that isn't like that, but yeah, thank you guys. And this thank you isn't like what some may think. It's an actual genuine thank you, because I never thought I'd get even this close to this far in this sort of business with what ifs and all that, and becoming a YouTuber and doing all of this. You guys you're stunning. You're amazing. Thank you all so much. Take care of yourselves. Be good, behave, be happy, and be safe. That's yet again all I can say. I hope you guys rest well and live well and happy. Goodbye. And I'll see you all in part 3. Or in any other what if, anyway. What am I talking about? Who knows when I'll upload next day?